Soundstripe.
Trying to get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone.
Soundstripe.
Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Hey. I grind to get a lot
Back
of
to
dough
XandOSportstalk.
and dirt
I'm
through
your
all the
host, Ricky D.
obstacles.
Stan, and I hope everybody is ready for the kickoff of the actual season of the NFL and the NCAA football. I hope everybody had a chance to look at some preseason to check out their own teams and see how they fare in the NFL. This preseason, but you get to see how your backups and a short instances of what your actual team can do. Of course, I'm an Eagles fan. I think if we are healthy, we can be a dangerous team in the NFL. Keyword, if we're healthy. However, before we get into depth with the NFL, let's talk about some college football. Like I said, I'm a big college football fan, University of Miami. This Thursday is actually, last week was kickoff weekend, but ain't nobody watched that. A lot of the smaller teams were playing. It was good to see football. But I did watch some high school teams that was on ESPN. I want to say the Manning kid, I think he played last week. So this Thursday, I said it's going to kick off. One thing about college football, the pride that takes place at these schools and the fan base is matched to none. Like I said, it gets crazy out there. The Big House, Michigan, Ohio State, the University of Miami. Of course, our fans are crazy. Like, college football fan base is matched to none. Like, I've been to NFL games, I've been to college games, and it's a big difference. I guess it's because the players are getting paid, so they're not playing as hard. I don't know, but it's nuts. So the University of Miami, they have Bethune-Cookman this Saturday. Hopefully, we can just take care of business and get it over with in the first half. Let the backups play. But, like I said, we should win, but with not a lot of resistance. However, we have seen teams like App State knock Michigan out early. App State shocked the world in 2007, and they beat Michigan in the Big House. So, like I said, if somehow Miami lost, I'll be pissed, but it wouldn't surprise me because stranger things happen. So, like I said, I think Miami should take care of them. Let's not have another Michigan moment, guys. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. I think we're ranked like number 16. So, 2 games that I will be looking in, after some things due on Saturday, but I will be flipping through my phone, checking out. Number 1, outside of Miami, is Notre Dame versus Ohio State. First of all, Ohio State said, let's get this out the way. We ain't hiding from competition. I love it. I love it. Number 2, Ohio State is in a slugfest, but number 5, Notre Dame, the first game of the season. They said, we want some more. We want some more. I feel like if Ohio State beats Notre Dame, they will jump over whoever is at number 1, which I think is Alabama, immediately. If you fight out with a number 5 team, and I'm pretty sure Alabama's playing like Tuscaloosa State or something, so they're going to jump them and get to number 1. I would be somewhere around a TV or borrowing somebody's phone at the time if mine dies to watch that game. Ohio State, like I said, they love the competition, and they got it in week 1. The next game I'm going to be looking forward to is Oregon versus Georgia. So everybody knows that the Georgia team pretty much is in a reload because they sent most of their talent to the NFL last year. Sent a couple corners, all that D-line, linebackers, and I want to say my Eagles got 2 of those players. So they're going to NFL. So pretty much they're reloading on defense, right? And I think the running back from Georgia, he's in NFL too. So they're reloading. Oregon, their coach actually went to Miami. So they got a different identity too. So I want to see which team early on is going to accept the challenge and actually do it. My money's on Georgia, but it wouldn't surprise me if Oregon surprised them and shocked the world. So, also Oregon, new coaching staff, so we're going to see what they come up with the first game plan. Moving on to the NFL. It's been interesting preseason. I don't remember players getting rocked like they do in the NFL. Like, I remember, in the NFL, it's welcome to the league hits. I've been seeing dudes getting rocked in the preseason. Tyrod Taylor almost swallowed his mouthpiece on the hit last week. And And to be honest, I don't think he's like hurt to the point he can't play. I just think that he ain't been used to getting hit like that in the preseason because old buddy unloaded on him. So I was excited to see that type of hitting in the preseason because the dudes are taking it serious and they want to make the team. So hopefully Tyrod is okay, and some of these guys have chips on their shoulders, and they're gonna lay the wood. Carolina Panther fans, I've been watching it. Baker Mayfield, you've made it known that he's your guy for the season, and your backup quarterback, he tweaked himself. I just think that's another way to open the gap up between those two quarterbacks. So Baker Mayfield is your guy. Things that Baker Mayfield does well. When he has time and he has good timing, he is very accurate. If he has a clean pocket, he's very accurate. He got a decent deep ball. But if he's pressured up the middle and he's not that quick to get away, he's going to turn the ball over. So you got to keep him upright, run the ball, and give him time. I think he will serve justice for you. And if you give him a good Christian McCaffrey, you give him more and a couple of those other guys running wide open, I think you can have a good season. Not a great season. I think you can have a good season just because you still have a couple pieces that before you can be elite, you need those pieces. Now, if you may trade for it during the year, great. If not, I think you're going to be mediocre or good at best. However, if this season don't work, I'm calling it early. They will blow the Carolina Panthers team up. It's over. Christian McCaffrey will be traded. Not Matt Moore, but Moore. He possibly will be traded. And they're probably just going to tank and then try to go for draft picks. That's how I see it happening. I hope it doesn't. That's just off of speculation, and that's just me reaching. But the thing is, this era of Matt Rule, I think his name is, if he doesn't win this year, it will be over for him. And they're going to blow that team up, and Carolina Panthers going to go back to the Stone Age. So let's hopefully you guys at least make it to the playoffs. And I think that you guys could win. And the worst part is, please do not pull what happened to the Colts last year. All the Colts had to do was beat the 2-14 Jacksonville Jaguars, and they blew it. That's all they do is win and you're in, and they didn't. So take care of the games that you need to beat and win. So if you win the games that you're supposed to beat, which is probably about 8, you take care of those and you split the rest, you can win between normally 10 and 11 games. It's going to be tough, but it can be done. But speaking of the Colts, I hope Frank Reich can get it done this year because he got rid of Carson Wentz after 1 year. Everybody thought that he could fix Carson Wentz because he had almost had an MVP season with him a couple years ago. I've never been a fan of Carson Wentz. I just felt like he was never that good. And the fact that he went back to his original offensive coordinator and lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars in a playing game to the playoffs, I really feel the heart of hearts. If he'd have won that game, he would have still been with the Colts, and we would never be having this conversation. But he didn't, and he stunk it up. His numbers weren't that bad. He only threw 7 or 8 interceptions, but the times they needed him to make plays, he didn't. He stunk it up. So, veteran Matty Ice. This window for him to win a championship is getting slimmer and slimmer. I feel like Matty Ice is still serviceable. They traded him from Atlanta, and I feel like they did him a service because he dedicated a lot of time in Atlanta. They're moving forward. I don't think he's their quarterback anymore because of that up-tempo offense they're trying to run. He's a traditional drop-back guy. He can go 2-minute offense, but not the whole game. So I'm glad that they have Matty Ice. Matty Ice really doesn't turn the ball over as much. He still can throw the ball, and I feel like with that offense with a good running game, he can win them 11 games. Moving on to the 49ers. We saw the preseason, and I think it was last week. I think they got one more. I didn't like what I saw, but I'm glad it happened now. So the first game that he did decent. He had 100 some yards. Everybody was praising him. It was what we call scripted football. Unscripted football is when you find out how good your players can execute plays. And it was unscripted football. He took some sacks, had some bad throws. His feet work was terrible. And pretty much if he plays like that on the regular part of the year, they're going to be in trouble. You can't afford to get him in third or long off of what I saw last week, right? He can't get in third or long because he's going to get happy feet, either throw the ball away or he's going to get picked off. They will put pressure on him to speed up his time because he's not developed enough to understand what he's seeing yet, which is he's still a young player. So what you have to do is you have to run the football, either with his legs or under center with the running backs. You have to do that. You have to give him what we call play action plays. That cuts part of the defenders out because it sucks those guys in, especially the linebackers. Those underneath throws, like the corner routes and those dig routes, will be open. All he has to do is hit them. The thing is, if he can't, you have to call game plans and scheme to his strength. If you do not, he's going to have an ugly year, and everybody's going to be questioning why he was picked that high, which I still question now. But you got to make it work. If not, you will be fired. This is the thing that's very interesting that developed. So Jimmy G was supposed to be traded, but he was not. They couldn't trade him, and they signed a 1-year deal for him. And I think they're going to use him as emergency policy, because if this quarterback Trey Lance don't work out, they're going to use Jimmy G to make the playoffs and try to make a push for it, because he does have the experience. He just can't win the big games. So somehow, if Jimmy G has to come back into play, they put the fire out of Trey Lance and say, hey, he's not good as we thought. They're either going to trade him or cut him. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. Trey Lance keep playing well, keep practicing, because he didn't play well at all last week. But I feel like he can. They just got to give him time. So I think as for time, we will see if he's good enough. But as for time, this is mine. I'm your host, Ricky G. Stanley, and I am out of here.
Soundstripe.
Trying to get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone.
Soundstripe.
Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Hey. I grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah, all I know is get paper. All I do is shit major. Bought a condo on the top floor and the building's a skyscraper. Feeling like I'm Kobe, LeBron for the Lakers. Feeling like I'm Idris, Paul Walker, Taker. New Rollie, no diamonds in it. New Porsche, all dimes in it. I'm infatuated with fine women. Corona extra with the lime in it. Just a taste of Henny. Used to be a penny pincher. Now I'm in plenty business. Grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Grind hard, nigga, on guard.
Yeah.